All right, all right. I know I'm teasing a little bit because obviously we haven't really seen much of a release for the red side of things in the Gundam card game, but why not do a little video to do a little bit of rampant speculation for two reasons. One, because it's fun to speculate and theory craft about what cards we might see in red. And two, the last time I did this, the last time I put out a video that was like, I wonder what's going to come next. Then they immediately like showed us something afterwards. So maybe I can create some sort of like psychic event that makes them give us more card reveals from the red set. Fingers crossed anyway. But let's dive into it. We've got two cards to take a look at. Both are Neo Zeon affiliated. So it looks like red franchise wise will definitely be including the Neo Zeon side of the Gundam Unicorn franchise. And so we've got the Geara Zulu here, level 3, 2 cost. 3-2 stat line. I like that, but what I like the most about this is that even though we don't have any card text in there in the text box itself, we do have the Neo Zeon trait as far as a link possibility. And it's always great to see these cheaper mobile suits with link unit things available, just because that gives you really good opportunity on your 3 resource turn possibly to play one of those cheaper pilots. A lot of times the command pilot hybrid cards are on the cheaper side, so you can maybe get something like that in red to play with this. So get a little attack early on. I think that gives us a little bit of a clue that red is intended to be a little bit more of an aggressive color, which, going by just card games in general in the history of planet Earth, usually red is a little bit more of an aggressive color, but red also tends to include something that we will see on the next one, which is the Sinanju. And first off, I love the Sinanju. This is just one of the best mecha designs in the history of mecha. It's just a beautiful, beautiful mobile suit. And I've built this one. I built the master grade kit. I built the titanium master grade kit. I built the real grade kit. So I've built this thing like 3, maybe 4 times if I'm forgetting one. So I love the Sinanju. So very excited to see a card with that wonderful image on it. Level 6, 5 costs. It is definitely one of the more expensive cards we've seen in Gundam card games so far. So that in itself is kind of interesting. We get a 5-4 stat line, which is big. But what do we get from the ability? By the way, these cards are very hard to find images of now. I went to eggmanevents.com. Go check that out. I've got a link in the description. He's got a great deck builder here for the Gundam card game, and so he had some images here that they were able to pull from other official releases. But I couldn't find this on the official Gundam card game site anymore, weirdly enough. But if the translation is correct, what we got from an effect here is when paired during this unit's... Oh, wait, hold on. When paired during this turn, this unit gets high maneuver. So you've got the ability to bypass a blocker with that, which is nice. But I think the next ability is really telling in terms of what we can expect from red, because it says, if this unit destroys a card by battle in your opponent's shield area, deal 2 damage to an opponent's unit with 5 AP or less. So just to refresh your mind, as I bring up my wonderful little Gundam, playmat here, you can see the shield area includes your base card and your shields. So that means whether you destroy a base with an attack or you destroy one of their shield cards themselves, you're going to get to do 2 damage to something with attack power 5 or less, which, unless we're talking about some of the bigger mobile suits with a pilot attached, includes pretty much everything we've seen in the game so far. So it's a very flexible damage dealing ability. And this is interesting, right? Because we've got another combat damage trick to think about, right? Green has breach, right? Which is defeat a unit on your opponent's side and then get to deal the breach damage to their shield area. This is a kind of an opposite in a way, where when you deal damage to the shield area, that lets you deal damage to something on the board. So it's a really great way to use high maneuver, I think, because you can bypass the blockers. You don't have to fight anything on the board, but then you can still hit back at something a little bit there too. So red seems to be the color that will be able to do the direct damage, which nearly every card game has access to some sort of direct damage mechanic in it. So I'm not surprised to see that come out of red in this card game that's kind of traditional across a lot of card games through the history of mankind, But I like how it's done, right? Where it's conditional direct damage. I would imagine we're probably going to have some cards that just do direct damage to something. We might even have a command card that just does damage to something. I would not be surprised if we saw that. But I like this sort of theme of getting past your opponent's blockers, doing damage, and then having that be what lets you do a little bit to your opponent's units on the board. It's a neat way of doing it. So I hope we get kind of more of that theme here. So just going across the different color themes, right? We've got blue, which is healing and resting and buffing as themes. We've got white, which so far has shown us bouncing, right? Sending cards back to your opponent's hand, blocking, and then a little bit with command cards in trash. So a little bit of trash-specific mechanics there too. Then we've got green, which has been ramp and breach, which is neat combat tricks. So it seems like red is probably going to be, again, some direct damage, obviously. And then, what else are we going to see? Maybe things a little bit more on the aggressive side, but by that same token, direct damage can also very much be a control mechanic too. So just because you're doing damage to something doesn't mean you're necessarily being aggressive with it, right? So I could definitely see some sort of blue-red control deck emerging, white-red control deck emerging. So we'll have to kind of wait and see with that. But that's my kind of theories on where we're going with red. Looks like we're getting direct damage. What else would I like to see with red? Maybe hand manipulation. I think that's something that we really haven't seen a lot of in the game yet. We've seen some card draw, but we haven't seen anything that messes with your opponent's hand. And so maybe that's something that could fit in with red that would be, on par with a couple other card games that are out there right now. Another thing we might be able to see is more when destroyed mechanics. If red is doing direct damage, then a mechanic that kind of relates to you taking damage back in return might make some sense too. So, we've seen a couple when destroyed things. Maybe we'll see that be more of a theme in red. I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But either way, like I said, I'm hoping that by doing this video, I, again, make a situation where karmically they feel, obligated to give us more red cards, give us more reveals. It's about time. Come on. We're into February already. Show us some more red cards, please. But until then, let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think red is going to have in the Gundam card game? Give me your best shot as designing a card for red. Let's just chat about it. Also, like and subscribe as well to the channel if you haven't already. It helps me a ton if you do that. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you hopefully very soon for more Gundam card game news.